Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel, Haven Outdoors. Today we are out riding the Ari Timp Peak, and let's talk about this bike a little bit. Ari Timp Peak is a 170 mil front, 170 mil rear travel enduro full powered e-bike. It's got the Shimano EP801. As far as spec, I really like the way Ari is speccing these bikes. They did a great job speccing that Nebo Peak that I rode a few weeks back, and same story here. They've got that Zeb Ultimate on the front here. It's got that Charger 3 damper, running the RockShox Super Deluxe in the back, which I really like. I had that same fork and shock setup on my Turbo Evo, in fact. Love these brakes. These are the second time I've run these SRAM Maven brakes, and they're absolutely just amazing. On the Nebo Peak, they were running 180 mil front and rear rotors. On this Timp Peak, they're bumping up to 200 mil rotors, which I'm glad that they did, because you know it's definitely a bigger bike, and you're going to be riding a lot rowdier terrain on this bike for sure than you would on the Nebo Peak. So these brakes are just running super good. You know, I'm 265, 6'3". It's a big bike, you know, probably 50-pound bike, and these Maven brakes are bringing this thing to a stop in a hurry. I'll go over most of the specs on this. We're going to run through on the written review that you'll find on the website. When I post that up, you'll see a link in the description on this video below here, but just a couple key points. 63.5 degree head angle on this, fairly slack. Fits this bike just about perfect. I think they've got that dialed. Felt really good on the downhill on this bike. Seat tube angle 77.5 on this XL frame, 437 chain stays. It keeps this bike pretty nimble with those shorter chain stays. It allows it to corner pretty quick, keeps the bike pretty sporty, and fairly playful for a big bike like this 170 travel bike here. So yeah, we'll run through everything. Like I said, a little more detail on the website, but let's go out and ride. We'll see you out there. It's making easy work of this loose climbing. I'll probably be running in turbo mode most of the time today. Might pop into eco and trail just to play around with it, but so this is the kind of stuff this bike is made for. AF Canyon, if you've ever ridden it, has a lot of steep, loose, just rocky climbs. And this Ari Timp Peak with this EP801 motor is just making easy work of this stuff. It was awesome. We'll probably just leave it in turbo mode most of the time today, as we're plowing through this steep, loose, chunky climbs. Might as well use it if we've got it, right? Woo! That was cool. Oh, I'm glad that I'm on an e-bike right now, because I'm trying to get rid of some pneumonia that I've had the past couple weeks, and my lungs don't feel great. Even with this e-bike, my lungs feel like garbage. Whew, that burns. So this Ari Timp Peak is so good for this type of riding. If you've ridden up in American Fork Canyon and been on some of the trails up here, you'll know that these climbs are just steep and punchy. And you've got this nice Shimano EP801 motor that likes to just kind of charge right up through this stuff. Super awesome. Also, climbing on this is really comfortable. One of the more comfortable bikes I've been on in a bit. On this extra large frame, it's got a 77.5 seat tube angle. This puts you kind of right over that bottom bracket, and just really comfortable to pedal, especially up the steeper stuff. It keeps that weight forward and keeps that front tire on the ground, keep it from looping out. Bikes that have a more slacker seat tube angle, you get into some of these steeper climbs and that front tire just tends to want to come up and loop out for sure. So this is good. Loving this. Head angle on this bike is 63.5, pretty slack. I'm not noticing it wandering a whole lot climbing. It's actually really good. Just kind of point it where it wants to go and pedal and you'll get there. It's not wandering around at all. I'm assuming, I haven't ridden downhill on this yet, but I'm assuming that slacker head angle is going to be pretty nice when we get to like Mud Springs, some trails like that. So this bike is a 170 rear and 170 front millimeters of travel, and the suspension is really good. It's pretty supportive while you're climbing. Obviously this is a full powered e-bike, so it's not gonna matter a whole lot, but it is efficient, and you don't sag all the way down into the travel. You don't wallow into it a whole lot, but it has a ton of traction as you're picking your way up through some of this stuff with a lot of roots and rocks. This suspension is pretty active. It's giving me quite a bit of traction for sure as we're getting up through this rocky stuff. One thing I'm noticing while I'm climbing on this Timp Peak, I haven't looked at the numbers on the bottom bracket height, but it feels like it sits a little bit higher. Like I'm not having any problem with pedal strikes or anything like that. Yeah, but it feels like it maybe sits just a little higher than some of the bikes I've been on recently. Let's see. Man, this is loose today. Let's hoping that rain would knock down some of this loose moon dust, but it's loose. You. Howdy. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
It's just on this, we've got this aluminum case, so good day for this.
Yeah, it's perfect, man.
We
Super good.
We have the mounts on our.
What way you guys going?
I think we're gonna head back
This way?
that way. I don't know. This gentleman's by himself, so I don't know. And on the 80
Cool.
bike, you can actually get a longer end.
I'm just heading this way. So
Yeah, I think he was gonna go that way.
right on, man.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, have fun. Yo! Woo! This Timp Peak eats up the roots and the bumps. Just don't want to ram into anybody here. I got a lot of uphill traffic on this trail now. So a couple things on how this bike goes downhill. Super plush. It'll definitely handle all the bumps and the roots and the rocks. And it feels super plush, but it's got enough support there to still be able to pop off of some of the little trail features. I wouldn't say it's like a poppy bike, but it's definitely got enough support to pop off some stuff, if that makes sense. But it is fairly playful for a 170 bike, no doubt. Whew. I really love these Maven brakes. You can slow down in a hurry if you need to. Whew. Sometimes a little too fast. These things stop quick. And I'm 265 right now, and I'm on a full powered, full motor e-bike. And these brakes don't have any problem bringing this all to a stop real quick. I am getting some creaking in this bike. I think it could be maybe from the headset area Maybe bottom bracket. Sounds like headset, I can't tell. You can never tell. Maybe just needs to be gone through and cleaned out and re-greased. But just a little something to note. If you're hearing that creak, I've got a little bit of a creak up there. Also, I feel like this bike doesn't roll super fast. I feel like there's some drag from something. It's got these DT Swiss 350 hubs, which I really like. Something there's that pneumonia. Something's just not letting this bike roll and coast super quick. Not sure what that would be, but it feels like you've got to have some pretty steep stuff to really wake it up and get it up to speed.